This is K9WLW with another video. I had a viewer really request some assistance with how to program a channel in their Anytone radio to use with their hotspot. And I will say this about the Anytone radio: as much as I like it, there are some things I wish were a little easier. And one of those things that's not a very easy thing to do is to program a memory channel that you can use to access your hotspot. Now, I know a lot of you out there say use the software, you can do all you need to do on the software. Yeah, but I'm not a huge fan of using software. I like radios that I can push buttons on and get to work. And the Anytone is a little convoluted with how to program that way, but it is something you can do if you're patient and you follow all the steps that you need. I'm from the camp that if you have a hotspot and you want to use your hotspot for DMR with a DMR radio, you only need one memory channel to control the hotspot. You can select any and all talk groups that you ever want to add to the radio in the talk group list. You can do it all from that one channel. I know a lot of people like to program one channel for each talk group. So you might have 50 channels for your hotspot so you can go to 50 different talk groups. It's a lot of data entry to do it that way, and yeah, I suppose you can edit and paste a lot of the repeated information, but it's a lot of information. And you don't really have to do it that way if you can change talk groups by the talk group list or manually dial. I have other videos on how to manual dial and how to set up this radio to manually dial any random talk group. Doesn't even have to be programmed in the radio. You can go anywhere you want if you tweak the radio. So if you haven't seen those videos, I would recommend you go back onto my channel and look at some of the manual dial features and how to unlock them. How to capture a talk group coming out of your hotspot or out of a local repeater and just simply key up the star key to jump in and QSO without having the talk group, without even knowing what the color code is, without even having to pay attention to what time slot it's in. The promiscuous mode. Set the radio up in promiscuous mode. I have a video showing how easy it is to do that. When you set the radio up like that, you will hear anything that comes at you in DMR mode out of your hotspot on that one channel. And you can QSO in any talk group you want. Anyway, one of the harder things to do is to program an actual memory channel. And considering that it's only one channel, why not learn to do it from the radio? It is convoluted and long, but it isn't impossible. So, I'm going to program a memory channel so that you can control your hotspot, and I'm hoping that you'll follow along and see that it can be done. And you don't need a computer to do it. I have my OpenSpot 3 on standby. I don't have it connected to any network other than the Wi-Fi, and there's the frequency, 445.737.500. All I need to do is program a single memory channel for that frequency in the DMR mode, and if I am able to do that, I should be able to do anything I want with the hotspot in the DMR mode. So, all the work is going to be here in the radio. The hotspot has already been set up. All we need to do is program the radio to work it. So, part of the trickery with the Anytone is these short keys. P1, P2, and so forth. I use the P1 key to switch between memory channels and VFO. Just quick press. Long press, you can do a different feature. I can use that to manually dial a talk group. I can randomly dial it, hit push to talk, and I am in a new talk group. Okay. I like the P1 key to switch between VFO and memory channel. Again, the whole idea here is to create a memory channel. It's nice to have a quick toggle between VFO and memory channel. And I use the P1 key. You might say, how do you set that up? You go into the menu, the green button, scroll up to settings, hit the green button again to select. Radio set. It's the P1 short. Long menu here. Scroll down. Keep scrolling. Eventually you will find a menu setting. Key PF1, key PF2, key PF3. This key is P1, not PF1. You go to key P1 short and hit select. You have a long series of options you can program that quick press for. I went to number 8 on my menu, which is VFO/MR. If you select that, a short press of the P1 key will switch the radio between VFO and memory channel. Back and forth. Quick press, quick press, quick press, quick press. So, you back out. Oops, I went too far. There we go. So the P1 key right here, quick press, VFO mode, memory channel mode. VFO mode, quick press, memory channel mode. If I switch the VFO knob, I'm changing my memory channels. Channel 1, Channel 2, Channel 3, Channel 4, Channel 5. I only have 5 memory channels. There's one hotspot. There's a local analog repeater. There's another hotspot. There's another hotspot. And I programmed a DMR simplex channel. 441 megahertz, time slot 2, color code 1. That's all I've programmed. And I do a lot with this radio with my whopping 5 channels. Well, I've already programmed a channel for OpenSpot 3, but again, the purpose of this video is how do you do it from scratch. So I'm going to have to pretend that I don't have a channel for it. So I have to create a new channel. Okay, so the way to go about doing that is I go to the VFO mode and I dial up the frequency. Well, the nice thing when you're in VFO mode, you can just punch in the frequency. There's 5 digits after the decimal point. So let's just go off frequency here. There, I'm on a random frequency. I need 445 73750. That's my hotspot frequency. So I put 445 73750. Okay. Now, how do we put that into a memory channel? We go into menu. We go up to settings. Hit select. Channel set. New channel. We're putting in a new memory channel. It's defaulting to the next channel in sequence, channel 6, but I can make it another channel if I want. So, I don't know, let's make it channel 10 just for fun. You can make it whatever you want. I'll make it channel 10. You hit confirm. This is where you name the channel. Well, it's OpenSpot 3. I'll make it short. MNO. I'll make it OS3. There's OS. And then I got to hit the pound key to change it to numbers. See how it's numbers now? And then I hit the number 3. That's the name of my channel. OpenSpot 3 abbreviated. That's pretty quick and easy. Hit confirm, the green key. And guess what? I have one zone. I don't have zone 2. I don't have zone 3. Why do I need zones when I got a lousy 5 channels? I'm not trying to overcomplicate the radio with hundreds and hundreds of memory channels. Again, I like keeping it simple. The hotspot's simple. Why make life complicated? So I'll put it in zone 1. I got to put it in something. There's the one zone. Confirm to save. Select. Channel saving. Okay, I have saved the channel. Now, I've only created the channel. Now I back out. I'm not done with the channel. Okay, I need to go to that channel 10, so I got to switch back to VFO mode. The quick P1. Or I'm sorry, to memory channel mode. I was in VFO mode, so I'll go to P1. Now I can change the channel selector knob and see if I can find that channel 10. There it is. Open spot 3, zone 1. Well, I'm not done with it. I need to tweak it and make sure it's set right. So there is a number of steps we got to go through to make sure it's right. And I'm going to go through them one by one. You go into menu. You go into settings, select, channel set. It's not a new channel, we've created it, so now we're beyond. So we want to go to, we're not going to delete it. We need to start off with channel type. We're going to go right down the list, one at a time, and set everything. Channel type. Okay, don't get down here in this A plus D. I don't even need to know what that is. You're either going to make it analog or you're going to make it digital. Well, it's not going to be analog if you're using a hotspot. You've got to make sure it's digital. So highlight digital, select. You get the green check mark confirming it. Once you've got the green check mark, you hit the back button, the red key, one quick press, not twice, not hold it, just a quick press. We're done with the channel type. Go down to the next menu option, TX power. While you're talking to your hotspot, it's not far away from you, so guess what power level you want. You don't want 7 watts turbo or high or medium or mid or whatever they call that. Go to the lowest power setting, which is a whole watt. That's really more than you need. I mean, I wished I had a super low. You don't need that much power to get into a hotspot from 50 feet away or 10 feet away. Select low. Green check mark. Hit the back button. Go down to the next option, offset. This is misleading. It's not your repeater offset. It's how far off frequency you want the radio. Click on it. Make sure it says zeros. If it says zeros, don't hit the red key to back out. Just hit P2. You're good. Bandwidth. Select. Well, the good news is if you've already selected digital, there's only one option, narrow. Bandwidth narrow. Back out with a red button, quick press, scroll down to the next. This is critical. Pay close attention here. RX frequency. I'm looking at my hotspot. The frequency is 445-73750. Does the frequency match? 445-73750. If it's correct, you confirm it with P2. Not delete, not confirm, because if you confirm, you still have to get out of there. So you can't delete it. This is normally the back key, but when you have the frequency, you got to quick press the P2. Frequency's good. P2. Scroll down to TX frequency. Select. Make sure it's the same. 445-73750. Good. P2. If it's wrong, let's pretend it's wrong. You got to hit delete. Quick press of delete and it erases the whole thing. So you got to manually put it in. 445-73750. Remember, there's 5 digits after the decimal point. Confirm it. It's set. Now that it's set, P2. So RX is good. P2. TX is good. P2. Next on the list, talk around. A lot of these features, I don't care what they are. Talk around off. Don't need it. Again, I'm not into advanced features unless I have a reason to. Name. We already named it. Okay, do not hit delete here. If you're okay with the name, just hit P2. Move on. TX allow. Well, I like my TX to be allowed anytime I want, so I'll hit always. Back out. Next, TX prohibit. I'm going to leave prohibit off. I don't like to prohibit myself from transmitting, so I'll select prohibit off. Red key to back out. Next on the list, radio ID. You should have already set this. I use my call sign. You go into it. It should be your DMR ID. If it's good, back out, back out. Next on the list, color code. Most hotspots like to be set on color code 1. You have to have the hotspot and the radio on the same color code. Doesn't really matter which one you pick, but I just like picking 1. So make sure it's color code 1, but you have 0 through, I guess, 15. But the hotspots tend to default to number 1 unless you go out of your way to change them, so why mess with tradition? Color code 1. Just make sure the hotspot's color code 1. If you don't match, you won't be heard on the network. Time slot. This is interesting. Most Pi-Star hotspots are on time slot 2. Not all, most. There are some dual slot ones where you can switch back and forth, but again, I'm talking open spot here. I'm talking garden variety, 1 time slot Pi-Star hotspots. If it's a Pi-Star, time slot 2. Open spots can go either way, but the open spot transmits out on time slot 1. So with an open spot, time slot 1. Remember, Pi-Stars prefer 2. Back out. Next on the list, digital encrypt. That doesn't apply to amateur radio. Leave that off. Encrypt off. That's something to do with commercial radio. Encrypt type. Well, you've got normal and enhanced. I've got it off. If I'm going to turn it off, I'm going to at least leave it normal. Again, this isn't important if it's off, but anyway, I want to cover every menu. Receive group list. Well, if you add a talk group, you don't have to mess with the receive group list. Work alone. Off. Don't even know what that means. Channel ranging. Don't even know what that means. Off. Don't need it. APRS receive. Don't need it. Off. Again, I want to use my hotspot. I don't want to get cute. SMS forbid. Really? Do we need to get into this? I'll turn it off. If someone wants to SMS me, I'll be okay with that. I'm not going to lose it. Data ACK forbid. I don't know what that means. I'll leave it off. DMR mode. This is important. You've got simplex, repeater, and double slot. With a standard hotspot like an open spot or a Pi-Star which uses time slot 2, make sure you make it simplex. Very important. If you put in repeater, it might either set the offset of transmit and receive, or you'll have to manually switch your time slot. With simplex mode, even if you put the time slot in incorrectly, you'll still be able to hear the traffic coming out of your hotspot, and your hotspot will still hear you. So it's kind of goof-proof on time slots if you pick simplex. You can't go wrong with simplex, trust me. New channel. Guess what? We reached the end. So we made it all the way to the end. New channel was where it started, number 1. So on this version of Anytone, it was 24 steps. It's a lot. A lot of it was a waste of time, but again, I wanted to go through the motions to show you that it wasn't rocket science. Anyway, open spot 3, you can see it's time slot 1. All that information is stored on memory channel 10. Okay, you want proof. Again, I created that channel right in front of your very eyes. I'm going to turn my hotspot on into DMR mode. Okay, I'm going to go to, waiting for the dashboard to come up here. Give it a minute to load up. There we go. I'm in that null standby mode, so I'm going to use DMR. That's the type of radio I'm using. So in the quick setup menu, DMR. There's my frequency. We'll go to Brandmeister. That's the most popular DMR network, so let's connect to that. Now, I'm hoping you have chosen a Brandmeister server. I have. Make sure you have your call sign, DMR ID, etc. And if you go into advanced mode, well, I've already picked a server. Okay, there's the server. I'm sorry. I use 3102 United States. You can use whatever you want. Okay, once it's ready to go, just hit the connect button. Let's see if the radio works.
Open spot connected to Brandmeister 3102.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't leave it in analog, because I wouldn't hear that in analog. It's in digital. You know you're in digital when you see the DIG there. Okay? Again, as long as you go through them one at a time, it should be good to go. What do you know? There's traffic. Yes, I have my hotspot in static mode. If you look at my status page, I've got all those talk groups static. Look at that. It's over 100 talk groups. So my hotspot, even though I haven't dynamically keyed up, is scanning all 100 and some odd static talk groups. It's after midnight, so there's not going to be a lot of traffic on a Thursday night. But we did hear a brief moment of traffic in 505. We can test it. We heard somebody in 505. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you can capture the talk group that came out of the hotspot. How do you do that? You hit the star key. Again, you got to set the settings on the radio for manual dial and unlock this feature as well. I have another video. You need to see it. It will help you use this radio. That was talk group 505. If I hit the star key, see the check mark? Monty reply success. Now my radio is going to key up the last talk group that it heard, which was 505. Let me make a call. 505 is Australia. Let me see. This is K9WLW calling for a radio check. This is K9WLW configuring a hotspot. Am I making it into talk group 505?
K9WLW, yeah, you're making it into the talk group 505 fine is VK3FKAM.
VK3FKAM. VK3FKAM, this is K9WLW. I really appreciate the shout back. I was just configuring a channel in the radio and a hotspot to make sure that I can get into the network. Looks like I got it done. I just needed a confirmation, and I greatly appreciate you shouting back at me. to let me know that everything seemed to be working okay.
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear here, quite clear. Yeah, no problems at all. VK3FKAM.
VK3FKAM from K9WLW. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And you're sounding very, very loud and clear here in Tampa, Florida. It is currently 12:33 a.m. Friday morning, just a half past midnight. So I imagine you are well into your afternoon in your end of the globe. So I hope you have a good weekend coming up. You're approaching the weekend pretty fast. I still got another day's work ahead of me tomorrow. So I'm a little jealous that you're that far ahead of me. But anyway, 73s to you. Thank you very much for the shout back. This is K9WLW in Tampa, Florida. Well, that was pretty nice. Australia.
K9WLW, VK3FKAM. Yeah, no, you're coming in quite loud and clear. Well, I'm in a place called Coronet Bay, which is about 100 kilometres south of Melbourne in Australia. So, yeah, you're coming in quite clear. Anyway, 73s, thank you, Sam. Bye.
73s, K9WLW clear. Well, how do you like that? That was a nice contact, huh? How many miles was that, I wonder? All the way to Australia, talk group 505. And that was a static talk group that the Hotspot just threw at me. Okay, so you just saw me from scratch create a one memory channel, and in what, a 20 minutes time, we made a QSO contact Australia. Anyway, that was pretty nice. I like that. Anyway, I hope that that helps. If you wanted to program a memory channel without having to go through the software, without having to hook up the cables and go through the computer and go through all the steps, it can be done in the radio. Little intimidating, but it's a lot of steps. A lot of them were a waste of time, and there's way too many features in those menus to be of any use. Some of those, I think, pertain to business band use and that sort of thing that don't apply to amateur radio. Okay, so let's say I want to add that talk group. Because here's something you want to do. If you're on one channel, you may want to add a talk group. Well, that was 505. I don't believe I have 505. So why don't we add one talk group to the talk group list? You hit the select button, you go to talk group. Talk group list, new contact. We're going to add a new contact talk group. We're going to input the ID. Select that. It goes to private ID first. We want to make it a group ID for a talk group. So I hit the pound key. We're going to call it talk group 505. I'm going to add 505 to the radio. Why not? So there's 505. You hit confirm. You input a name. Well, I know it's the Australia nationwide, so I'm just going to call it Australia. A U PQRS T PQR A JKL GHI A Australia. Spelled it correct, I hope. Yep, looks like it. Hit confirm. One more step. Scroll down to save it. Select. Contact saving. Saved. Now, if you want to manually contact 505, all you have to do is hit the menu button, talk group list. Scroll through all the talk groups. Well, it happens to be at the top of the list since it's the last one I entered. 52 talk groups. It's not a lot, but it's not a few. There's Australia. If you select it, select contact. Now you're dialing 505 with each key down. See that? 505. Okay. If you want to pick another talk group, you don't change channels the way I program it. You just change talk groups. Talk group list. Let's say I want to go to North America 93. Select contact. Kerchunk with the push to talk. There's 93. Now my hotspot's listening to 93, just like that. Okay. If I want to disconnect, manual dial 4000. Press and hold the 0. Private ID comes up. Hit the pound key. Talk group ID 4000. I now have unkeyed and unlinked all the dynamic talk groups.
Not linked.
See, now all the dynamic talk groups are unlinked. Let's say I want to go to manual or to 91. I can either go to the talk group list and look for worldwide 91, or if I want to be Mr. Slick, press and hold the 0, private ID, pound key, talk group ID, 91, push to talk release worldwide. See how easy that is?
My other radio on.
And there's talk group 91.
Just
You
so I
see it
can hear
down
what
there in the
someone's
corner.
saying.
Okay, see how easy it is to move around the network? If you unlock the manual dial feature, capture the talk group feature, which I demonstrated in my earlier videos. If you put the radio in promiscuous mode, so any traffic coming out of the hotspot is heard no matter what, you can capture the talk group, you can add a talk group manual. There's so many things you can do without even having to touch the computer. See the talk group, the color code 01, time slot 1, it's all showing there on the bottom of the screen every time somebody transmits. So from one channel,
I wish you all the best.
I can do what I need to do.
And may God continue to
Okay,
bless you
talk
and
group
keep you
91
safe.
never sleeps. I want to put my hotspot to
And
sleep.
I'll be out here monitoring. I'll be out here playing with this radio for a
I
little
can't
while.
do the press and hold 0
Until I
manual
try to
dial while
figure
there's
it out.
talk, so I got to hit the
It's
green
something
button,
I pushed,
talk group,
but I'll figure it out.
manual dial 4000. Quick push to talk, and I'm unlinked from talk group.
Not linked.
There you go. I think that demonstrates how to get in and out. From there, the world is your oyster. How do I put my hotspot to sleep when I'm done? Remember, I'm connected to a homebrew MMDVN server. I've got all those static talk groups. If I fall asleep, the hotspot will be transmitting some really static talk groups all night. So what do? I go to null connector. Connect to null. Where does it say? There we go. Sorry. Null connector. Switch to selected. Change active connector to null. So now no more radio traffic will come out of the hotspot. The hotspot, it'll say special connector is active, which means null connector, which means no radio traffic will interrupt the hotspot all night until I reconnect it. I'm still in DMR modem mode, active connector null. I'm still connected to the internet. There's my internet signal strength, negative 20 dBm, nice and strong. Why do I leave it connected to the internet? Sometimes updates come through in the middle of the night. If I leave the hotspot connected to the internet with no radio traffic to mess it up, the internet will allow firmware updates and call sign updates to pop through automatically at 4 in the morning when I'm sound asleep. That way I can leave the hotspot connected without radio traffic coming out when I go to work, when I go shopping, when I go sleep, and I always have the latest firmware version, the latest call sign updates. Anyway, hope those pointers help you in getting well on your way to getting into DMR. You can do a lot with one channel, and the more creative you get with the manual dial, the promiscuous mode, capturing the talk group, using the hotspot, you can end up in a lot of places quickly. Anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below or email me at cq2meters@yahoo.com. 73s.